I'll call the meeting to order. This meeting is being live streamed and recorded and will be available. No, that's Stone Mills. Strike that from the record. We got talking about bereavement up here, and I didn't get my LNA page up. No, I'm good. Thank you, Tracy. There we go. My apologies. So the first item of business is to adopt the minutes of our September 18th council meeting. Can I get a motion to that effect? Councillor Fritsch, Councillor Richardson, all in favor? Sorry, any business arising from those minutes? None? Thank you. And approval of the agenda, please. Councillor Hagedorn, Deputy Warden Townend, all in favor? That's carried, thank you. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest? The general nature thereof, none declared. First item is the Warden's report. Could I get a motion to receive that report, please? Councillor Hogg, Councillor Davidson, any comments or questions? All in favor? That's carried, thank you. Matters for consideration, library digital checkouts. And this is a motion to be received and that council directs staff to implement option 4. Mr. Paul, do you want to? Oh, no, it's prepared by Christine D'Souza, Manager of Library Services. Will she be addressing this, Stephen? Or?
Yeah, she is going to, and I guess I'm actually happy to introduce Christine. She's been here since July as our new library manager, so it's a great opportunity for council to meet here tonight, and I'll pass it over to you, Christine.
Welcome.
Good evening. I'm Christine D'Souza, the new Library Services Manager. So this evening I'm here to talk about Hoopla. Hoopla is a digital media service offered by our library system. It offers on-demand ebooks, audiobooks, TV, music, and movies. Currently, people can borrow up to 5 items per month. It's a pay-per-use model with costs per items ranging from $1.50 to $4.99. Our present concern is the fact that due to rising demand and increased publisher prices, our budget is the cost of this service is going to far exceed our budget. Usage has increased by 12.5% in 2023 and by 16.5% so far in 2024. And the publishers have also increased the price of these items by approximately 12%. Unfortunately, with the current model, we cannot control the prices, and our projected year-end, we have a projected year-end deficit of $16,000. Although 65% of our library usage does come from our physical collection, the digital content is also very popular and also essential for accessibility. Our most popular digital format is audiobooks, which unfortunately, just due to the dying nature of CD players being phased out, we do have to replace them with a digital source. In this case, either Hoopla or one of our other streams. So for our solution to stay on budget, we suggest introducing a few cost control measures. One would be reducing the monthly checkout limit from 5 to 4. This would result in approximately 11% savings. We'd also set a price cap, so the maximum price per item that people could borrow would be $3.78, which would result in a 14% savings. And then we would also introduce a daily spending cap based on our annual budget, so that way we cannot surpass our actual spending and we would prevent budget overages. We would also like to combine all three strategies in order to sustain the cost of this particular service. It should be noted that Belleville has introduced a daily spending cap, and the Kingston Public Library has reduced its monthly checkout limit to 4 as well, and they have set item price caps as well. So our recommendation would be to adopt option 4, which would be to reduce checkouts, apply the price cap, as well as implement a daily spending cap. And of course, our clients would still have access to Libby and Overdrive, which is another very popular digital resource, which offers 62,000 ebooks and approximately 18,000 audiobooks. So we are hoping that these measures will sustain our budget.
Thank you, Christine. Any questions or comments on the proposal? Yes, Councillor Hagedorn.
Thank you, Warden. Through you. Is there a way that if someone does try to sign out more than what they can, or what the new limit would be, that there's a way of advising them that the other option is Libby or Overdrive? I'm not sure just how you would I'm not sure the sign out process, so I wasn't sure, just to make sure that the users know there's another option and they don't just back out and not order.
So when you go onto our website, you can see all of the different formats available, including Hoopla as well as Libby. So they can see that both are available. We can also put messaging on our website, and we will be sending out information to our clients about it. But unfortunately, I can't have it at the checkout point because the checkout point is actually done on Hoopla. So they're not going to advertise another vendor. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? In that case, we have a motion to receive and a motion to adopt option 4. Does someone want to make that motion? Deputy Warden Townend and Councillor Hagedorn. Any discussion? All in favor? That's carried. Thanks very much, Christine.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Okay, item 2 is Pellis centralized intake. And this is an informational piece here. Ms. Chenier, did you want to mention anything in this report?
Thank you, Warden. Just very briefly, that really this report is to provide council with the various options that are available to helping with homelessness, and some of the things that we are doing as well. Really, we're doing everything in this report with the exception of the 24/7 emergency shelters. So we're really trying to focus on providing permanent solutions for people who are in need. So transitional housing, it is a temporary position. However, it's a much needed gap between homelessness and permanent accommodation. So that's why that piece is in there. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that council may have, because I know there was a lot of information in that report.
So I wonder if we're speaking to the same one here. This is the centralized intake update. Maybe
Sorry.
you're speaking to the
I was
emergency
speaking.
shelter solutions.
I
Tracy
was speaking.
just whispered in my ear, so it wasn't just me that was confused. Okay.
No, I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
Lynn.
It was me. And
Let's
I
just
had everyone up.
let's just deal with item 3 then, since you've just
Okay.
addressed it. So
My apologies.
it's okay. I already screwed up tonight, so I set the precedent. So this sort of, in a way, follows on a little bit from item 2. It's just more specific about some of the things that we're doing. So let's consider item 3 then, Council. Emergency shelter solutions. Lynn has just given you a brief synopsis of the report. Did anyone have any questions or comments on that report? Yes, Councillor Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. I'll try not to take up too much of the air in the room this evening, but I'll see if I can get through most of this stuff. Just with respect to a couple of numbers here, it says 87 people are on the by name list. and 69 of them are in Lennox and Addington County. I think we can probably assume that the vast majority of them may be in the town of Greater Napanee, but that's just my personal opinion. There's a term that I've most recently come across, which is the term of being unhousable. The number of 69 people in Lennox and Addington County, does that include the unhousable people?
Thank you for the question. Yes, it would. So, and we don't have anyone that we consider, nobody's ever permanently unhousable. They may be unhousable today in the private market, renting of an apartment, but that's what we use our transitional housing for, moving people from homelessness into transitional housing, offering them supports, connecting them to resources so that they would then be able to maintain their own accommodation at some point in time in the future. But this by name list only includes everyone that we know of that is homeless or precariously housed if they consent to be on the by name list. So there would be people out there that we maybe know about but have not consented to be on the list, so those people are not included in the list.
Okay, thank you. So do we know how many of the 69 in Lennox and Addington County as of today are unhousable?
No, I'm sorry, we don't know that number. So that's not a number that we track.
And I'll explain why I'm asking that question is that the Supreme Court has the Superior Court has obviously suggested that people have the right to shelter. However, if they're unhousable, does that right still exist? And do we, as a municipality, have the ability to move them? Because if they're unhousable, I don't believe that we need or we should have the ability to allow them to park anywhere they want, because the system is set up and designed to put people in housing, but those folks don't seem to have the ability to go into housing. So I know it's probably a question that you don't have the ability to answer. However, it's a burning question that I have is that, and that's why I asked the question, how many of those people are actually unhousable? And if we do have unhousable people, can those people be identified to the lower tier governments as being such? Or is that something that just can't happen?
I can speak to the identification of people. We would not be able to provide names to anyone outside of PELIS or community agencies that we have consent to share that information with, because so people on the by name list have given us consent to work with specific agencies, and we're able to talk about their situation, to offer supports and work together. So outside of that realm, though, we would not be able to share any information about the person.
So conceivably, we would have people living on our parks or on our sidewalks that don't have the ability to be housed according to, I guess, PELIS. However, the lower tier municipalities have to provide some type of space, I guess is the best way to put it. Would that be an accurate statement then?
I don't know that we would ever consider somebody to be unhousable, though, because we would always be working with the person for them to become housed, whether that's in transitional housing or in permanent accommodation. There may be people who choose not to participate in the by name list or working with PELIS or working with other community providers, and then that's a choice. That doesn't make them unhousable. It's a choice that they've made is to not engage with any of those services.
So the term unhousable really shouldn't exist is what I'm hearing?
I personally probably would say no. I think everybody has the opportunity to become housed. What that housing looks like, though, can be different for a number of people.
I think we're splitting hairs, but that's fine. I'll move on. Just with respect to, I know we've got a number of communities that have tried a number of solutions and they've failed, and I think that list could probably quadruple or quintuple because I think every municipality in this province has tried and failed in certain things. I guess the concern I have with the existing list that we have is most of these municipalities are larger municipalities and they're single-tier municipalities. Is it possible to get some examples of what two-tiered municipalities are doing? And I can use maybe Cobourg as an example as to how they've tackled the homelessness problem within their municipality with the existence of a two-tier government. And I use Coburg just as an example because it just seems to be the one that's reasonably close in size to our municipality.
I can certainly reach out to our counterparts in Coburg and get more information.
Okay, and finally, and again, I'm not sure this is the exact place to ask it, but with respect to funding of housing or with social services, it's also come to our attention that there is an encampment that is, dare I say, not a legal and binding type of facility. Do we provide funds to people that are in that, and again, to say an illegal encampment on private property, do we pay funds or do we provide funds to people that are at that encampment?
Through Ontario Works Assistance, if they're in receipt of that, we would. So under that program, we just have to have verification from the property owner or superintendent of the property that the person is required to pay shelter costs, and under the Ontario Works Act, they would then qualify for those shelter costs. So under that program, yes.
But we don't do any checking per se to see if the facility or the property is a legal property or a property that has the authority to provide housing or shelter. But we wouldn't check into that, I guess.
No, through the caseworkers, we would not be doing that.
And do we direct people to go to that property?
Generally not.
Okay, thanks. I think that's all I have, Mr. Ward.
Thank you, Councillor. Anyone else have any questions for Ms. Chenier? In that case, we have a recommendation just to note and receive this report. I get a motion to that effect. Councillor Hogg and Councillor Fritsch, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Now we'll revert to item 2, Apellis centralized intake. Ms. Chenier.
Thank you, Warden. And again, I apologize. So the ministry has recently announced an expansion of the centralized intake model that was implemented in 2023. So they are now, as of October 1st, they've expanded centralized intake to 10 municipalities within the province, and they have made legislative changes that the province will now be the designated organization to determine eligibility, with the exception of temporary care assistance, emergency assistance, and for assistance for people under the age of 18. So they will be the delivery agent, and that prototype that is just expanded to the 10 will move forward and be expanded out to the remainder of the province sometime in 2025. So what this will mean is, and this has started many years ago, it will be freeing up some administrative burden on the service delivery agent side, which is our side of things, in that we won't be needing to do as many applications, as many third-party checks. That will be done by the province, so that we can spend time working with our clients, talking to our clients, developing relationships, completing the common assessment, referring to community agencies and partners, and to Employment Ontario as well. So it's really just freeing up time to get rid of administrative type of duties to more involved and holistic work with our clients to achieve better outcomes. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Lynn on this one? I was just trying to picture from the individual's standpoint how this will be different. Will the applicant or beneficiary, however you want to refer to the client, have any direct and personal contact with someone from the province then? Or is this more of an evaluation that checks off boxes or whatever?
Good question. So it really is a digital first approach. So today, prior to the expansion of centralized intake, a person could come into our office and say, I'm in desperate need and I need assistance today. and we would likely be able to see them and complete a full Ontario Works application today. That will not happen in the future. If that person came in, we would then be able to process an application for emergency assistance, which is only up to 45 days worth of assistance, and then we would refer them on to the province to do a full application for Ontario Works assistance. A lot of that is done strictly over the computer with no real in-person contact. However, there may be instances where the provincial staff need to reach out to the person to clarify information, and so then there may be personal contact at that point in time. But very much it would, for the most part, would be online through the computer.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to receive the report then? Unless there's another question. Yes, Councillor Hagedorn.
Thank you. Just a follow-up question. With it being completely online, are you aware that the province has any other method? We still run into a lot of residents that they don't have computers or they aren't online, and trying to fill out forms or make requisitions or anything online is difficult. Does the province have any safety net for if that comes up?
They do. So for people who don't have a computer or aren't able to access an online application, they are able to call Service Ontario, and they will process an application over the phone. We also have computers in all of our waiting rooms in all of our offices, and that we can assist somebody to complete that application. And there's many community partners out there that also will do the same thing to help somebody go through that whole process.
Anything further? Can I get a motion to receive the report? Councillor Davison, Councillor Calver, all in favor? It's carried. Thank you. That brings us to Advisory Committee recommendations and reports. The first one is the Technical Advisory Committee. Mr. Wager is not here this evening. Are you going to address this one?
I'll just be happy to answer any questions council might have if I'm able to answer any questions.
Fair enough. Any questions on the TAC report? Lucky for you, there are none. Can I get a motion to receive that report? Councillor Fritsch, Councillor Calver, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And the John M. Parrott Center Compliance Report, Ms. Malcolm.
Through you, Mr. Warden. We will walk through this. The occupancy rates, you'll see we have slowed down a little bit on our move-ins, which so we may hit under 100. We'll see. Respite users, we are seeing a good consistent users of that service, which is also very good. The staffing, you can see that we are less reliant on agencies. Now we actually were fortunate enough to secure 3 RPNs to work for the Parrott Center coming from the agency. So that was very exciting for us. So we'll continue to work at that. There's not very much change in the red and green chart that I've shared with you. It's fairly stable. We'll continue to focus on deprescribing of antipsychotics through our team that we utilize to do that. You can see that we had a compliance inspection September 11th to the 13th. That was for 2 compliance inspections and 11 inquiries. There was a complaint and a resident-to-resident abuse, and there was no findings in any of that. They did the standard infection prevention and control compliance inspection, and then you can see the other protocols that they reviewed. That is actually the second lean inspection that we have had with their new transfer to a faster process. So they were in and out in 2 days, which was refreshing. Nice. Oh dear. Not really any change, particularly with the COVID vaccine and flu shots. The flu shots started this week for residents and staff, and COVID vaccinations will be ongoing. And then we've also started with RSV vaccinations for residents. So that's going very well. And education, you can see that I've got 3 managers attending management training program. And then we were able to feature through the BSO Integration Day in Kingston. It's our BSO nurse, Michelle Hickey-Clark, prepared, or is a GPA coach, which is gentle persuasive approach coach. And she took the content of that curriculum and turned it into one that would be applicable to families who are going through the dementia journey with their loved one and often very much struggling. And so she condensed that to a 6-hour day, and our families are finding this incredibly helpful. And so we were able to share that success with other partners within the Southeast. I'd be interested if any of the counselors attended the webinar on the current long-term care environment that was scheduled on October 9th. So hopefully I can hear from that. And then the Health and Safety Committee is working through the workplace violence survey that we are required to do on an annual basis. Happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Angela? None? Can I get a motion to receive that report, please? Councillor Richardson, Councillor Hagedorn, all in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Which brings us to committee reports by members of council. Anyone wish to bring anything forward from committees that they're on, external to this one? None? Which brings us to county department activity reports, starting with administration.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple things to highlight. Just wanted to thank Beth for her help with John and Parrott Center with their hiring blitz. You can see in your package a sample of some of the ads that I think have been really successful in trying everything we can do to increase our staffing. And the other thing to highlight is the new CAMA succession planning toolkit for CAOs. We're actively trying to support the professionalism within the CAO profession, and that's just one of the latest toolkits to share with council. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Questions for Brenda? I had one. Is that toolkit available to anyone in the county, the CAOs in the lower tier?
Yes, you have to be a CAO member or a member of CAMA to get it, but I am able to share it with them. So
Okay.
if you'd like, I can absolutely send it to all 4 CAOs.
Right, because I don't think our township is a member.
Consider it done.
Thank you. And financial services activities, Mr. Day.
Through you, Mr. Warden, I would like to highlight that there's the third quarter financial update report is included in the department update. I am happy to say we are operating within budget lines that we've expected. However, staff is still monitoring their budgets closely as invoicing is coming in, especially on the capital side. For projects that we've completed at the end of September, the invoicing is coming in this quarter, so we are monitoring it closely and we'll make adjustments if required. I'm happy to answer any questions that council may have.
Any questions for Mr. Day? Moving on then to social services, Ms. Jenny.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. I just wanted to highlight that Thursday, October 24th is the 24th Annual Child Care Worker and Early Childhood Educator Appreciation Day. So we will be holding an event for ECEs and staff who work with young children, and we'll be celebrating and thanking all of the educators in our service area. So I just wanted to highlight that for council, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Any questions for Lynn? Yes, Councillor Fritsch.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Not a specific question. Certainly want to, on behalf of Township of Addington, thank Lynn for coming to our Township Council meeting yesterday, just to provide more of an update on housing, and it was a great discussion and much appreciated that she could take the time to come to the northern part of our municipality. Thanks.
Thanks, Tony. Moving on to Community and Development Services, Mr. Paul.
Okay, thank you. Just a couple items to note. On September 21st, we held our 8th annual Discover LNA cycling ride. 430 cyclists from all across Ontario took part in that. Started at Bergeron Estate Wineries and then traveled to the east through Bath and through the areas of Loyalist Township and the town of Greater Napanee. It's a big thank you to Rob Plumley for not only that event, but he spends a lot of his summer doing events right across the county and is an expert at that, and certainly it pays dividends and has amazing return for the amount of people that are coming to visit our area because of those events. On the planning side, just to note that the draft of the RFP for the LEAR study, so the agricultural land study, has been completed, and it's in the hands of our local municipal partners as we speak, and we hope we'll be able to have that out in the marketplace by the end of this month, if all goes well. And then lastly, it's not in this in my activity report, but just an update with regards to the community transportation funding. So I've been working with Loyalist Township over the last month, and they're at a point now to move that forward. So a plan is in place, agreements have been signed, and I've been in conversation with our funding partner, the Ministry of Transportation, and they've signed off on it as well. So we are ready to go, and I think you'll see a bus hitting the road very shortly in Loyalist Township. So we appreciate all the work that's been done with that. Thank you. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Stephen? None. Moving on to long-term care. Angela.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Again, as of today, I still do not know if we have been accepted as for the Inter-Rye Long-Term Care Early Adopter Program. I have to assume it is going to be any day. So I'll keep you posted as to that. Project Amplify is something that we're very excited to be a partner with. This has been something that has been a very challenging communication between any hospital and long-term care when we're sending and receiving our residents. And so this program will actually expedite things substantially and be able to allow us to access information regarding the care that they've received at the hospital right at the same time as they're coming back to our homes. So instead of waiting days and days or perhaps not getting anything at all, this is going to make a substantive difference. So we're very excited. The COVID-19 testing eligibility, you can see that the province no longer will be funding the COVID-19 testing for our staff. And so they will fund it for residents because they're in a high-risk communal setting. So our staff, in the hopes to maintain a high priority on resident safety because they are a vulnerable population, any staff that are off for respiratory illness related anything will come back with a mask for 10 days because we'll just assume that it's COVID-19, and so then that will just help keep our residents safe in the home. And that's a fairly standard approach that many long-term care homes are doing. And then I guess I would just finally highlight the PSW Living Classroom. The intake has started again for the February start. So there's an information session every Thursday at 10 o'clock in the morning at the Parrott Center where Limestone District School Board is there to provide any sort of information and registration. So if there's somebody that reaches out to you that is interested in the PSW course, send them our way. Happy to take any questions.
Questions for Angela? Seeing none. We'll move on to Human Resources. Ms. McGarvey. Oh, sorry. Skipped you, Chief Jones, because my computer screen went dark and I was winging it. Go ahead.
Thank you, Warden, through you. Basically, the report's in front of you. One of the big efforts that we've been focusing on is our triennial service review, so that is next week. So we've been preparing a lot of documents, and kudos to the team for compiling those and organizing those. And it's a big effort to compile those things in the way the ministry wants to see them. So shout out to them, and I'd be happy to answer any questions on the rest of the report.
Questions for Chief Jones? Comments? Seeing none. Ms. McGarvey, Human Resources.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. I don't have anything to add or highlight, but I'm happy to answer any questions, should council have any.
Thank you. Questions for Trina? Seeing none. Ms. Orchard, Infrastructure Services.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'm happy to try to answer any questions council might have.
Any questions on Infrastructure Services? None. Can I get a motion to receive all those activity reports, please? Councillor Hogg, Councillor Calver. All in favor? That's carried. Other business, any statements by members? Councillor Hagedorn.
Thank you, Warden. I have two, and I'll be brief.
You don't have to be brief. It's only 4 minutes after 7. You
might make the boat. No. The first one is, as was mentioned, the transit is coming together for Loyalist, and we expect it to be in operation by November 4th. I just wanted to extend my thanks to the county for allowing the extension to be granted to Loyalist so that we could further pursue and be able to be successful with that venture. I think it's going to be great for the municipality. The other one was today Loyalist held Classroom to Community. It's an event where it was a busy day. 5 of the public schools in the township sent all their grade 5 classes, and some of them are mixed, so it's like grade 4, 5, or 5, 6. So it was a full house. There were about 350 students that went through the rec center today. There were 18 booths set up. All the services that the township provides, along with external agencies such as the Cataract Way Conservation. And there was also 2 booths that were set up with, one had the library and the other had the ambulance in it. And we're very appreciative that both of those booths were there. It raised a lot of awareness for some young, very impressionable minds. And it was also very nice because Deputy Warden Townen, in the session where council was, that gave him an opportunity to showcase the county, not just the municipal. And so it worked very well. And having the booths there was a great visual for him to be able to share, Lennox and Addington. Did you see the ambulance? Yes. And we'd ask questions about it and then go, did you notice Lennox and Addington on the side? Yes, they did. So it was very good having both of the booths there to raise awareness and for them to fully understand or get a good understanding or beginning to understand the levels of government that impact their lives the most. And I think that was it was a great day. And as I said to each class that went through, I looked at them and said, one of you may be standing up here as the mayor in the future, so we want to work with you to make sure you understand and everything and you're prepared to do it. So I just wanted to put out my thanks to the county for supporting it and for the staff to attend and answer all the questions and have a very busy day. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Any other statements by members? And any notice of motion? Any matters of urgency? None stated. We have no bylaws other than the confirmation of proceedings. Can I get a motion to confirm the proceedings of this evening? Deputy Warden Townend, Councillor Hogg, all in favor? That's carried. And a motion to adjourn. Councillor Hogg, Councillor Hagedorn, all in favor? That's carried. Thanks very much.